Poker has always been one of the most competitive games in the world. For decades, it was viewed as a game dominated by men, especially at the highest stakes and biggest tournaments. But throughout poker history, a handful of women have not only broken through those barriers, they've built legacies that rival some of the greatest players ever. Today, we're ranking the top 5 female poker players of all time, based on tournament success, bracelets, longevity, impact on the game, strength of competition, and overall poker resume. Now, before we start, this list isn't simply about who won the most money or who has the most bracelets. We're looking at the complete picture. Who changed the game, who dominated their era, and who built a legacy that will be remembered for decades. And while there are several players who could make a strong case for this list, one woman has separated herself from the pack and strengthened her argument as the greatest female poker player ever. Let's count them down. Honorable mentions go to Annie Duke and Maria Ho. They are icons who just missed out on this list. At number 5, we have Liv Boeree. If you followed poker at any point during the 2010s, chances are you've heard her name. Boeree's path into poker was unique compared to many professional players. Before becoming a poker star, she studied astrophysics and developed the analytical mindset that would later make her so successful at the tables. Her breakthrough moment came in 2010 when she won the European Poker Tour San Remo main event, one of the most prestigious tournaments outside of the World Series of Poker.
It's a blank. Liv Boeree has done it. Jakob Carlsen's the runner-up. Liv Boeree is the champion of EPT San Remo.
The victory earned her over $1 million and instantly established her as one of the best female tournament players in the world. She later added a WSOP bracelet to her resume and accumulated more than $6 million in live tournament earnings.
I dreamt about winning one of these things for over 10 years since I first stepped foot in the Rio, and not only did I get to win one, but I get to win one with my best friend and my life partner.
Now, what really makes Boeree deserving of a top spot is her impact on the game. At a time when poker was exploding in popularity, she became one of its most recognizable ambassadors. She appeared on TV, represented poker globally, and helped to introduce countless new players to the game. Unlike some players whose fame exceeded their results, Boeree had the accomplishments to back it up.
Sorry, Phil.
She wasn't just a personality, she was a legitimate champion who could compete with the best players in the world. For combining success, intelligence, and influence, Liv Boeree earns her number 5 spot. Coming in at number 4 is Jennifer Harman, and depending on who you ask, she may be the most respected woman to ever sit at a poker table. While many players on this list built their reputations primarily through tournaments, Harman became legendary in cash games. She won 2 World Series of Poker bracelets in open events, which was an incredibly rare accomplishment for female players during her era, but her true legacy was forged in the biggest cash games in the world.
Now, is Jennifer gonna fire that last bullet?
For years, Harman was a regular in Bobby's Room in the Bellagio, a place that many poker fans consider the toughest poker game on earth. These weren't tournaments where players could get lucky for a few days. These were long sessions against elite pros playing for hundreds or thousands or even millions of dollars. The fact that Harman not only survived but thrived in those games earned her immense respect from poker's biggest legends.
So in the beginning, I was playing 80 hours a week, learning the games, playing a lot of poker, but I can't say it was a grind. I have to go play 80 hours a week. I loved it. So I was looking for, every day I look forward to going and playing poker. So it was fun.
What's especially impressive is that she achieved all of this while overcoming major health challenges. Harman underwent 2 kidney transplants during her life and still returned to compete at the highest levels of poker. That resilience, combined with her skill and longevity, helped make her one of the first women inducted into the Poker Hall of Fame. While poker professionals discuss pure ability, Harman's name almost always enters the conversation. At number 3, we have Kathy Liebert. Liebert may not always receive the same attention as some of the bigger poker celebrities, but her resume speaks for itself. She has quietly put together one of the most impressive careers in poker history. In 2002, she became the first woman ever to win a major tournament worth over $1 million when she captured the Party Poker Million. At the time, it was a groundbreaking achievement that helped show women could win major events on poker's biggest stages. She later added a WSOP bracelet and accumulated more than $7 million in live tournament earnings. But what separates Liebert from many players is consistency. Poker is a game where even elite players experience huge swings. Many players enjoy a few great years and then disappear from the spotlight. Liebert did the opposite. She remained competitive across multiple generations of poker. She found success before the poker boom, during the poker boom, and in the modern era filled with solvers, advanced strategies, and tougher competition. That kind of longevity is incredibly difficult to achieve.
I don't actually usually try to create a table image, but I'm very aware that when I'm acting in certain ways or talking a lot or saying certain things, that it can affect people a lot.
For more than 2 decades, she continued cashing, making final tables, and proving she belonged among the game's elite. While some players may have higher peaks, very few can match Kathy's consistency over such a long period of time. At number 2, we have Vanessa Selbst. And for many years, she would have been the easy choice for number 1. There was a stretch of time when she wasn't just the best female poker player in the world, she was one of the best players in the world, period. She burst onto the scene with an aggressive style that was unlike almost anyone else at the time. While many players preferred a cautious approach, she consistently applied pressure and forced opponents into difficult decisions. The results were incredible. She won 3 WSOP bracelets, nearly $12 million in live tournament earnings, and became the only woman ever to reach number 1 in the Global Poker Index rankings. Think about that for a second. Not the best female player, the best tournament player in the world. That's a level no other woman has ever reached. During her prime, Vanessa was feared by elite professionals. She regularly battled in some of the toughest tournaments available and consistently produced results. What makes her accomplishments even more impressive is the era in which they occurred. Poker strategy was advancing rapidly, competition was becoming tougher every year, and yet Vanessa continued to dominate.
Of course, it feels great to keep kind of pushing the records and things like that, but at the end of the day, I would love to get more women out here competing. You know, we're seeing more and more women every day in these tournaments. Like today, I was looking around, there's at least 1 woman at every table, so that's awesome, and I just hope it continues to grow in the future.
If this ranking had been made 5 or 6 years ago, she would have occupied the top spot. But one player has spent the last several years building an even stronger case. Taking the number 1 spot is Kristen Foxen. After what we've seen over the last few years, it's become increasingly difficult to argue against her. Foxen first established herself as one of the most successful female poker players in history by winning multiple WSOP bracelets and repeatedly earning GPI Female Player of the Year honors. But unlike many players who dominate smaller events, Foxen consistently challenged herself against the strongest competition available. She became a regular in high rollers and super high rollers, tournaments filled with almost entirely elite pros and world champs. And she didn't just compete, she won over and over again. Her success eventually propelled her to the top of the women's all-time money list, a remarkable accomplishment considering the level of competition she faced. Then came one of the biggest moments of her career. Very recently, she won the 25K WSOP High Roller for her 6th World Series of Poker bracelet.
Kristen Foxen has won the 25K High Roller and earned her 6th career World Series of Poker bracelet.
The event featured some of the toughest players in poker, and she emerged victorious, earning over $1.7 million in the process.
This is definitely probably the best win of my poker career so far. Yeah, getting another bracelet, it just feels so surreal.
To him. Not here.
That win was significant for several reasons. First, it gave her 6 bracelets, putting her among the most decorated people in poker history. Second, it came in one of the toughest fields imaginable, silencing critics who questioned the strength of some of her earlier victories. And third, it reinforced what many poker insiders had already been saying. Foxen is no longer just one of the greatest female poker players ever. She's one of the greatest poker players ever. And let's not forget her incredible run in the 2024 WSOP main event. She finished 13th out of more than 10,000 players and came very close to becoming the first woman in modern poker history to reach the main event final table. That performance earned praise throughout the poker world and demonstrated that her success isn't limited to specific formats or buy-ins. What's scary is that she's still adding to her legacy. At just 39 years old, she continues to compete at the highest levels of poker and shows no signs of slowing down. When you combine the bracelets, the earnings, the high roller success, the longevity, and her recent accomplishments, Kristen Foxen has built the strongest overall resume of any female poker player in history. That's why she takes the #1 spot on our list. So there you have it, the 5 greatest female poker players of all time. They broke barriers, won championships, battled the toughest competition in the world, and inspired countless women to pursue the game at the highest level. Who would be #1 on your list? Let us know in the comments.